In this session, I'm going to discuss the deploying the ASP.NET Core website or the ASP.NET Core Web API to Azure Cloud. There are multiple ways to deploy the application, any ASP.NET Core application into the Azure Cloud. Either you can create resources directly in the Azure portal, or create resources using the RM template, or directly create a website in the Visual Studio and then publish the code runtime creating the resources from Visual Studio template. So I will first discuss the step 1, how to create resources directly. Ideally, in a real project, we will be creating the RM templates and pushing the resources using the RM template, and we are going to automate the RM templates as part of the release pipeline in the Microsoft Release Management. So that's the ideal way to do. So for now, I will explain this. In the next session, I will cover this. So go to the, assuming that you already have the subscription assigned to you before start creating any resources. So that's the minimum requirement before you start creating any resources. So I will create a new resource group. So these are the resources I'm planning to create in order to host the website or the web API. Again, I'm using the app service plan without securing. So this is the public facing website I'm going to deploy to the Azure cloud. So I need a resource group. You can give any name, but following the naming convention is also very important. You can prefix with the company name or the project name. Like if you start with the company name, it will become 4 segments. If you start with the project name, then it will become 3 segments. So this is my project name. This will tell what kind of resource are you creating, and this will tell which environment. For example, the app service plan. So project name, app service plan, and the development. Web app, development. API app, development. App insights, development. So these are the minimum resources required for hosting the application. So this is the resource group, logical container for all these resources. And this is the actual service plan, the infrastructure where the application will be hosted. And I have 2 applications to host. Just like IIS, you have web app and API app created inside the IIS. So I'm going to create these resources, web app and API app, inside the app service plan. And for monitoring purpose, definitely we need application insights. I would recommend you use the application insights instead of something else. So same thing, if you have multiple environments, let's say test, stage, and production, you can just change the test at the end. So in my scenario, I just need the development, which is non-production, and one more for production. So I'll just suffix with prod for all the resources in production. So with this, let's start creating the resources in the Azure. So I'll say create resource and enter. I think I'll start with the app service plan. We can also create the resource group runtime. Search for the app service plan. Click on create. So existing subscription will be shown here. If you got the right subscription and permissions to create the resources, then create the new resource group or select the existing resource group. So I'm going to create the new resource group. So let me so this I would like to be in West US. The location name, we can select the location name and then say create validation field. So give the app service plan. This is the resource group name, bookmytaxi resource group dev, and app service plan. So if you are creating a app service plan or any other resource which already exists, it will say already exist. Now in this case, this is not exist, so I'm selecting the location West US and then create resource. So you can review before making any changes. Make sure that the right resource group, app service plan, and the operating system, and the SQA. This is the pricing tier, so we can initially create premium V2, and then we can make the changes. Then say create. So this will take some time to create the app service plan. Now I can see the deployment is completed. Let's go and take a look at the resource group. So if I go and click on the resource group, I should be able to see the new resource group created. This is my new resource group, and with that, app service plan is still work in progress. It's still deploying. So this will actually create the actual infrastructure, so this will take some time. So we should wait until the deployment is completed. So in the next step, let's create the web app and the API app. So click on new, search for the web app, click on create. Then again we are going to select the existing resource group and web app name. So again, this is in the West US. So here I need to create the actual app service plan, either create or select the existing app service plan. So I will be selecting the existing app service plan, then review and create. Validation failed. Runtime stack is required. So the runtime stack is I think my application is 2.1. I can select for the 2.1. So if I select for the 2.2, the rest of them should be the compatible. So let me check my application. So this is 2.1, and the web app is also 2.1. I will select 2.1 for now, and then create. So deployment is in progress. So this is creating the web app. The same thing, I need to create the API app. Now I see the resources are getting created. So now the web app deployment status is completed, so we can look at the web app. This web app is actually created inside the app service plan. So the pricing is applicable. Pricing is applied on the app service plan, not on the web app which we created. So this is my website. If I click on the URL, so this will say, this is my website URL. And once we deploy the application, so we should be able to see the application deployed here. And if I take a look, this is my app service plan. App service plan can be scaled up or scaled out anytime. So let me see what plan we created. So right now, this is the these are the three different categories of the plans available. So this is the development, production, and this is the very secured, isolated environment, which we can use it for production. So here we can increase the number of instances for the app service plan. So right now with this app service plan, I can host up to 100 instances of web apps. So let me also create the API app. Same thing, I need to give the name. I'll say API dev existing resource group. And use the existing resource plan. I should be able to see the existing service plan. Application insights, so we can create application insights sometimes. So something wrong with the app service plan. So I should be able to see the app service plan which I have created. Okay. So looks like we have created an app service plan with the wrong name. So this is the app service plan created in the wrong location also, but it is created under the right resource group. So let's use the same app service plan for now. We can correct it, recreating again. Just for the demo, I can continue on the same. I will create API app, selecting the same resource group. Here, hyphen API dev, use the existing resource group. And this is my existing app service plan. And I'm also creating the application insights that time. So let's say create. So API app deployment is completed now. And the application insights is also ready. So if I go to all the resources, the particular resource group, I should be able to see my app service plan, and application insights for the app service plan is also created. Application insights for the API app, and we have the web app. So this is how we can create all the resources. So I created a resource group, app service plan, web app, API app, and the application insights. And the next session, we can discuss how to deploy the applications into this web app and the API app. Thank you.